Thank you, Michelle. Our top story, of course, the DPRK, and it says it has approval for military strikes on the U.S., including the use of nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, the U.S. has announced plans to send a land-based missile defense system to Guam in response to recent DPRK threats. The U.S. already has interceptors at Fort Greely in Alaska and Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. The new missile defense system will be sent to Guam in the coming weeks. The Pentagon said it was sending the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, or THAAD system. They are calling this a precautionary move, as the DPRK has pinpointed U.S. bases in Guam as a potential target. Joining me now to talk about the latest moves by both sides is American University professor Hilary Mann Leverett. And let me get your thoughts on that. What do you think? It seems like a chess match. One moves this way, another moves that way. What are we to make of these latest moves?
I think it's a real push to challenge the so-called U.S. pivot to Asia, this attempt by the United States to reassert dominance in Asia after 10 years of essentially quagmire in the Middle East. The U.S. administration under the first Obama administration decided to push a quote-unquote pivot to Asia. And I think what North Korea is doing is trying to really push back against that and the security architecture that we have arrayed around it.
Let me ask you about Jay Carney, the White House spokesman, because he said this, and I want to get your thoughts on it, and maybe we can put it up on the screen. It is important to view this within the context of the kind of behavior that we've seen out of North Korea in the past. And it's important to say that in every instance, this refusal to abide by its international obligations and to engage in threats and provocative rhetoric and behavior only serves to isolate North Korea further, to make it more and more difficult for the North Korean economy to develop, and imposes more and more hardships on the North Korean people. It seems like that's the same kind of statement that's been said repeatedly. It doesn't seem to change the demeanor or actions on the North Korean side. It doesn't seem like that's a major concern on their part.
No, and I don't think it's really, it's not intended to change North Korea's behavior. For U.S. foreign policy, the concern is not whether you're a nuclear armed state. We don't care about Israel's nuclear arsenal, for example. We don't care about India's nuclear arsenal, for example. Both arsenals built outside of the international law, outside of the NPT. We don't care. What we care about from North Korea is that they are challenging the U.S.-built military and security architecture in Asia. So any activity that they're going to do over today, tomorrow, next week, next year is going to be seen as provocative. We're going to really yell and scream about it, but until the United States gets serious, whether it really wants to reassert dominance in Asia like we tried in the 1960s with 2 wars in Vietnam and in Korea, or we want to come back and come to terms with the rising power in Asia, the People's Republic of China, as Nixon and Kissinger did, we're going to continue to have this back and forth, and we're going to continue to put in troops without affecting behavior. We're not going to change North Korea's behavior this way.
Christopher Hill, who's the former ambassador from the U.S. to South Korea, said today that he kind of described the DPRK as clumsy, and his concern is that they're going to do something in a clumsy fashion, perhaps in the DMZ, and that's going to really trigger all of this. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's certainly possible. It is a reckless, in a way, a reckless situation where we're pushing this country that doesn't have many resources, that doesn't have a huge standing army that it could actually use in a conventional way to assert its security prerogatives. We're really pushing it with a situation we don't understand in terms of its leadership to act in a way that we can't control, we can't manage. But that's not necessarily problematic for U.S. foreign policy. It hasn't been historically. For the United States, these small problematic states, if they overstep, it gives the United States essentially the excuse to come in and really assert dominance. So a problem with North Korea is not necessarily problematic for the United States. Now, given our economy, given other concerns that we have, other priorities, is this something we want? No. But are we actually looking to solve the problem? No.
Hilary, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming in and offering your insights. Appreciate it.
Thank you.